Beacon Press Audio presents Touch Me, I'm Sick, a memoir in essays by Margeaux Feldman. This audiobook is narrated by Sarah Beth Goer. Published by Beacon Press Audio, 2025. Prelude. You're 16 when you lose your voice. For weeks at a time, you're unable to speak. The only sound that leaves your mouth is a cough that is unrelenting. You're haunted by a scene at the lake. You've taken a walk with a family friend, a man who could be your surrogate father. Suddenly, he's pulled you close to him and is trying to kiss you. You resist, and eventually you manage to push him away. You try telling your parents what happened, but no one believes you, and this man continues to visit your home. When he leaves, so too does your voice. But your parents fail to notice this correlation. As you cough and cough and cough, they become concerned. A psychoanalyst is called to come and see you. He's a family friend. Before he can figure out what's wrong with you, your voice returns and the cough disappears. The lake scene continues to haunt you. A year later, when your symptoms return, and you lose consciousness, the psychoanalyst is called once again. You'll be diagnosed as a hysteric. He will eventually realize that this scene at the lake was a site of trauma for you, that in fact this isn't the first time this man has attempted to kiss you. Trauma upon trauma. But the psychoanalyst can't wrap his head around your psychosomatic response. You should want this man's advances. You should be flattered by his attention. After only a few sessions, you tell him that you won't be returning. You refuse to be gaslit by him any further. Except, this isn't your story. This is Dora's story. Or more accurately, Ida Bauer's story. Dora is the name that Freud gives her. But it could be yours, if you replace a few details. Fast forward from 1896 to 1999. In your story, the lake becomes a forest. Instead of the old family friend, it's a 17-year-old boy. You're 14. You've gone to the park by your childhood home, where your former babysitter's son hangs out with some boys a few years older than you. They get you high. Then, one of them takes you into the forest. He's not interested in kissing you. Instead, he pulls down your pants and pulls you onto his lap. The pain's so sharp it takes your breath away. That is not the only thing it takes away from you that night. Instead of a cough, a rash spreads like wildfire over your legs. Eczema. The etymology of eczema means something thrown out by heat. Trauma as heat. Eczema as that which is thrown out of the body, externalizing that which is internal. Like Dora, you also cannot speak. You don't yet understand that there's a word for what happened to you in the woods that night. 4 letters haunt you and take up residence in your body. The body, it turns out, always knows before the mind is able to reckon. Even if you did have the language, you know that you cannot tell your father. There will be punishment. He will blame you for what happened and keep you under lock and key. You're poor, and so there is no psychoanalyst to call. You remain silent, while your body continues to speak for you. Touch me, I'm sick. In many ways, I've known sickness my whole life. Born with eczema that covered my arms and legs in red, rashy welts, peaking as a teenager and returning uninvited throughout my adulthood. As a teen, I had regular tonsil infections. 2 strains of mononucleosis at the same time. I've never seen this before, remarked my doctor. And the norovirus. In my 30s, a friend who'd known me since undergrad told me, "I'm not sure I've ever seen you not sick for more than a couple of weeks." Sickness didn't just take up residence in my body. It inhabited my home, too. When I was 10, my dad and mom sat my brother and me down to inform us that my mom had cervical cancer. Radiation hadn't worked. Now they'd start chemo, and my mom's illness would become visible to us all. Over that year, we'd visit her in hospital rooms, and I'd tell her all about my dance recitals and the boys I had crushes on. One day, we sat in a hospital room with her oncologist, as he told us that my mom had just a few months left to live. She moved home, and we turned our living room into her sick room, and it is here that she will die. One night I'm sitting with her on the couch watching television, when she turns to me and asks for more strawberries. "Mom, we ate all of the strawberries last week." "Oh." She paused. "Right, of course." I watched her deteriorate in front of me, as the pain meds and the cancer left her confused. Time all out of joint. About a month before her death, my aunt, uncle, and cousin drove up and across the border from Connecticut, and my other aunt and uncle drove down from Barrie for one last night together as a family. We looked at old slides of my mom and her sisters living abroad in Europe when they were kids. And then we all paused on one slide. A photo of my mother when she was 12 or 13, head cocked slightly to the side, a defiant but playful look on her face. It could have been me. The resemblance was uncanny. After my mother died, my aunt sent me a print of that photo. I keep it at my altar. That same night, my cousin and I performed a few dances we'd made up to songs from a chorus line, including Dance 10 Looks 3, also called Tits and Ass. We wore bicycle helmets in lieu of top hats, and our family members are pictured laughing to the point of tears. In one of my favorite photos from that night, my mom is sitting on the couch in a lavender t-shirt, blanket wrapped around her, my brother and dad on each side. The bones in her face protrude, making her already tiny body all the more skeletal. But she's smiling as she looks at me. I can see her joy through the sickness. The next day, we walked to the park near my house, and my mom and her two sisters sat down on a bench for a photograph. Years later, on the 20th anniversary of her death, I decided to make a shrine. As I went through old photographs, I discovered that picture. And also an earlier photo, taken on that same bench maybe 3 years before. I placed these two photos together, like in a flipbook, and glued them to the cardboard box that is my shrine. The earlier photo feels like a premonition. Not long after her death, my father started to drop things. A cup slipping out of his hand and shattering on the kitchen floor. He'd go to see his doctor and then a neurologist. No one could tell him what was wrong. The muscles in his arms started to atrophy from disuse. By the time I was 17, I had to help him drive, my hands on the steering wheel when we had to make a sharp turn. At my high school graduation, he attempted to jump down into what we called the pit in our gymnasium. Without the weight of his upper arms, he fell and landed face down on the floor. As the people around us gasped and ran over to help him up, I stood there mortified while he smiled and tried to shrug it off. By age 18, I was feeding, bathing, and clothing him. Eventually, he'd get a diagnosis, a rare form of Lou Gehrig's disease, also known as amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. ALS is a motor neuron disease in which your brain stops sending signals to different parts of your body that it's time to move. Eventually, due to lack of movement, muscle tissue deteriorates, and parts of your body stop functioning permanently. ALS usually starts in the arms or legs, what doctors call limb onset. Once those parts of your body have atrophied, the disease moves inward to your diaphragm, making it hard to expand the lungs fully with each breath. It impacts your ability to swallow and eat, and eventually even your eyes become stagnant. No ability to move, speak, or communicate. There is no cure for ALS. You get it, and within 2 to 4 years you are dead. Only 10% of cases live longer than 10 years. My dad was one of those cases. He lived with ALS for 20 years. The year before his death, in 2016, sickness entered my life like a wrecking ball. First, it was a spike in my anxiety that struck me, making it difficult to get out of bed.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?